Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, or Chah Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and I've got this Reuters article pulled up, and it's saying the Panama Canal drought to delay grain ships well into 2024. And if you can't get grain, people are going to start going hungry. And as you can see, a lot of things around the world are starting to fail. You've got the economy failing. You have diplomacy failing, which is leading to war. You've got logistics and the shipping routes failing. And really, we just have a bunch of evil times coming. We've got bad times on the horizon. And so it says bulk grain shippers hauling crops from the U.S. Gulf Coast export hub to Asia are sailing longer routes and paying higher freight costs to avoid vessel congestion and record high transit fees in the drought-hit Panama Canal, traders and analysts said. And I just saw maybe a month or two ago that a ship had just paid something like $3 million to skip through the line and be first in the line so that they could get their goods to where they were going. And this isn't just for exports leaving the U.S. This is coming in as well. It says the shipping snarl through one of the world's main maritime trade routes comes at the peak season for U.S. crop exports. The U.S. is already such a heavy importer. It's going to hurt Babylon even more to not be able to export and kind of bring some money in. It says, and the higher costs are threatening to dent demand for U.S. corn and soy suppliers that have already ceded market share to Brazil in recent years. We'll get this little part down here and then move on to the scriptures. But it says ships moving crops have faced wait times of up to 3 weeks to pass through the canal, as container vessels and others that sail on more regular schedules are scooping up the few transit slots available. The restrictions could continue to impede grain shipments well into 2024, when the region's wet season may begin to recharge reservoirs and normalize shipping in April or May, analysts said. And they're hoping for that because these folks are hurting right now, not having enough water for the ships to pass through. It's going to bring down the supply that's available, and then on the demand side, that's going to increase those prices because of the low supply. And so you're going to get even more inflation than we already have here and around the world. So prices are going to run up. But famine is on the horizon. You could tell with these different farms getting shut down, all the food processing plants that have been burned down or shut down or destroyed, with these logistic troubles in the Panama Canal, and just various other things like not getting little droughts here or wildfires there. And once the war gets started and gets going, most resources will be diverted towards the war effort instead of taking care of the people back at home. And so that brings us to Revelation chapter 6. And chapter 6, verse 6. It says, and I heard a voice. Actually, we'll start at 5. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Those balances refer to judgment. In another sense, it's going into our slavery, because that word there for balances actually goes into yoke, and that's what you put on a beast of burden. But that yoke goes into the Israelites and our slavery as well. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny. And at first glance, that sounds really good. I'd love to get anything for just 1 penny. But this is going into the Roman denarius, and that was payment for a day's labor. So here they're saying a measure of wheat for $100, $200, $300, whatever is made in a day, which is an outrageous price for some wheat. And it says, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And that's the truth. And the elect have the truth. And these scourges that are coming, it's made for the wicked. But, the Lord said that his servants shall eat, so we have nothing to worry about. But that famine is coming. And it's coming for these people, and it's going to catch them unaware, off guard, because they're not looking for the prophecies or the return of Yahushua. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And this is Esdras, after he's seen the vision of what is coming to this earth. And this shows reincarnation, because he was getting this thousands of years ago. But he's seeing himself here, or he knows he'll be here in these times. And he sees how terrible it's going to be. And he's terrified of it. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. And the canal, the Panama Canal, and the backup there, that's showing you that this famine can happen, and that can be one of the pieces that leads into this famine. It says, in great death, because people die if they don't eat. Not to mention all the wars and just evils that are coming on the earth. People killing one another. It says the beginning of wars, and we can see the beginning of these wars. We hear all the rumors. It says, and the powers shall stand in fear, because this is for Esau. The beginning of evils, and what shall I do when these evils shall come? Evil goes into bad times. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Because these should make a person turn back to the Lord, but they just continue on because they're not looking or waiting on Yahushua's return. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. And eventually the Lord's going to take away that mirth, and they're not going to be able to just keep partying and not thinking about what is going on. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. Victuals go into your basically groceries and your supplies. And it says, and they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even now we're experiencing inflation, but it's still not to where you're spending your whole day's labor on just one product. And it says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth. Sword, modern day swords, the gun, famine. We just talked about famine, and great confusion. Darkness covers the people. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. And it says that it's better to die by the sword than of hunger, because you'll just pine away. Just paraphrasing. But that would be an awful, awful death. Your stomach just eating itself, and your mind playing tricks on you because you're so hungry. And it takes a while, because you can fast for days and weeks, really. People fast for weeks. Yahushua fasted for 30 days. And that's all before, you know, people fast for weeks and don't die. And so this is going to be a long time for you to actually perish of famine. It says, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And so, as you can see, these bad times are ahead. They talk about the economy and how poor of a situation it's in. You can see just various things around the earth in which are going to bring the demise of Babylon. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.